much of a cash crunch is Canada's junior mining sector facing? Joining me here on the sidelines of the 121 conference in New York City, Kerry Smith, senior mining analyst over at Haywood Securities. Kerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you were just on a panel. We had a lively discussion about the state of junior mining.
Right.
And everyone on the panel was not so optimistic, right?
No, well, it's hard. You know, I've been in this business. Well, I've been a mining engineer my whole life, but I've been in this business 25 years. It's tough to get sort of up when the gold price is kind of range bound, which is what it's been.
And Kerry, you said that this is one of the worst periods you've ever witnessed, you've ever gone through.
Yeah, since I've been in the capital markets since 1992. So for me, it's the worst I've seen yet.
So just to put things into perspective here, and I brought this up during the panel also, cannabis companies raised $4 billion in 2018 compared to $217 million raised by the mining companies. So, you know, what does the mining sector have to do here to turn things around?
You know, I think the leadership has to start with the seniors, with the producers. You know, we've had an industry over the course of time that hasn't delivered good returns to investors. They've squandered a lot of shareholder capital by making poor acquisitions. And if we can't return capital to shareholders through meaningful dividends or share buybacks or stock appreciation, then nobody's going to invest in the sector. So I think the leadership has to start with the seniors. They are doing that finally. You're seeing more discipline from the seniors. You know, they're more disciplined in their M&A strategy. They're not paying these big crazy premiums for companies like they used to pay. And then that will filter down to the juniors. And you know, until investors are comfortable owning the seniors and the intermediate producers, there's not going to be a lot of capital available for the people that really deliver the big value in the space, which is some exploration company that drills off an ore body that gets built. And that's where you can really deliver some pretty big returns for your investors.
And Kerry, something else you brought up is that the sector as a whole has to do a better job of marketing themselves, right? So the technology component, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, if you're a senior or intermediate producer, you have the resources internally to have a proper social media presence. You should have it. I don't think every company utilizes that side of the business as well as they could, but a lot of the smaller companies don't even have a social media presence. And, you know, to be relevant in this space, let's say there's 2,000 junior exploration companies in the mining business. There's 20,000 stocks out there that generalist investors could invest in. We have to make ourselves relevant, and you have to be able to pitch your story in a way that's concise and quickly to the point, because people don't have time to, you know, let's go through a pitch book.
And I agree with you, absolutely. Like, I think the days of the pitch book, really need to, I don't want to get another spiraled project notebook. But how do you go up against, the Bitcoin and the cannabis stocks that are so attractive, and, you have these huge swings and everyone's talking about it. It's a tough battle.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the really high risk capital that was in, let's say, the cannabis trade, a lot of those guys have made their 10x on their investment, let's say, and now it's becoming a mainstream business. And so the returns, there will be situations where somebody can make nice returns on a stock, but in average, it's going to be sort of a market trending business, as I call it. And, because you don't have a commodity that can go up through the roof, which can generate big returns, which you have in gold. So I think what has to happen is, the guys that are investing in the cannabis space, that were the speculative capital that funded these guys initially, are now going to go somewhere else. And they're not all going to go into the mining space. Some will, but we need to give them a reason to come here. And hopefully the gold price can be part of that catalyst. Hopefully we can market ourselves properly. We can deliver reasonable returns to shareholders. But the guys that put money in the cannabis space, they're looking for 10x on their money. They're not looking to make 10% a year, to be quite honest.
Kerry, for all the investors watching at home, what would be your advice now? Would you touch the miners right now, or wait, or is it a buying opportunity?
No. I think the market has finally turned. Like, it's been, as I said this morning in the panel, we had an 11-year bull market in gold from 2000 to 2011. We've had a terrible 8 years since then. The gold price went from 1923 to 1080, and now we're sitting around 1300. I think the market has traded long enough for me to feel confident that we've kind of turned the corner. And I think directionally the gold price goes higher. I don't know how much higher it goes, but as I said this morning, I think producers can make reasonable returns at these kinds of gold prices, and I think if the gold price can sort of, the word I like to use is plod. If the gold price can plod itself higher, that for me would be the ideal situation.
I like that. It's the first time I've heard that in 10 years of doing interviews in this sector. So I'll take that, Kerry, and I appreciate the optimism. Thank you so much for joining us here.
You're welcome, Danielle.
And thank you for watching. We'll have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned to Kitco.com.